power shuffle, just so you know. As long as you do only one, it's okay. The second power shuffle definitely really unnecessary. We saw this yesterday actually in the top 8. Didn't get a chance to talk to the judges about this. We saw a player pile shuffle his deck as the last act, then hand it over to the opponent. That would actually not be legal in tournament play if somebody caught that. I don't think the player meant anything by it. He didn't deserve any punishment or whatever, but it technically was against the rules. Don't do this at a GP or a PT. A judge can be called because a pile shuffle, even though it says shuffle right there in the name, is not an actual shuffle. It is an unrandom redistribution of the cards. And whenever you do pile shuffle, make sure that after that you riffle shuffle so much that the pile shuffle doesn't even matter anymore. So you might as well just not do the pile shuffle and do like 20 riffle shuffles in the same time. 60 card decks mathematically guaranteed to be totally randomized after 7 proper riffle shuffles. So do yourself a favor, just riffle shuffle your deck, maybe pile it one time just to count, make it sure. Maybe only pile shuffle your opponent's deck, because that's always nice. If you see they didn't pile shuffle it, you do it. Because then if you get to find out they don't have 60 cards, that could be the free win for you. Other than that, try to stay away from pile shuffles as much as possible. Sorry about the rant, but I'm just really, for years and years. The round time is limited. You see people going to draws unintentionally. We saw it happen yesterday. We saw people having to fight for their lives instead of being able to draw into the top 8 last round just because they picked up that draw on previous rounds because they just couldn't get the match done. And Magic is tough. You need to think about it at times. I get that. And take your time. If the situation is complicated and there still is enough time left, feel free to think about it for a little while. But please make sure that whenever you don't need to waste the time, don't waste it. And the pile shuffle is one of the most inefficient ways you can be spending those 50 minutes. So please do yourself and your opponent a favor. Try to pile shuffle as little as possible. If I don't see any pile shuffle ever again, it will still be too soon. Like I said, I agree that there is like some merit to it every now and then to do like one. But like, don't go overboard, and then you should be all good. Anyway, now we get to see it. Actually, we do get the deck list. This is great service. We can look at what Julian Knap has going on. He seems to be a pretty standard elf deck. Well, a pretty standard list. The deck list itself is pretty exceptional. Icon has Behemoth is drawn on it. A nice, like, I don't know, Yoshi, Ninja Turtle, whatever, drawing. Features the deck list as well. Yoshi's Island too. Yeah, that's the name of his deck. So we are looking forward to some of this. I don't know why. Probably the Crater Hoof Behemoth is being referred to. Anyway, it looks like pretty standard list. He's going to try to combo off with Glimpse of Nature, kill the opponent as early as turn 2 possibly if he has the nut draw. Splashing black to get access to that Thoughtseize and Abrupt Decay in the sideboard. Main deck mono green, as far as I can tell. Yeah, except for Deathrite Shaman, I guess. Shaman? Shaman, I think. Okay, so yeah, Julian Knap is going to be on that. Michael Steinecke, I don't know. I expect this guy to bring something pretty interesting. He usually has great builds, like I said. I loved his mono-red Goblin Devotion deck that he did in Modern. That was pretty sweet, guys. Board, Tusk, Legion, Constructed. I thought I'd never see the day. That was awesome. So I don't know what Michael Steinecke is going to bring today, but I hope it's going to be sweet, and we'll see it any second now. Hopefully not too many mulligans. I can't wait to see this match getting started, and also it's always sad if people have to go down a lot in cards. Sometimes you have to do what you gotta do, but let's hope we don't see none of that right here. We just get to check out good Magic. Michael Steinecke and Julian Knap, pretty good players. From what I heard, I know Michael Steinecke in person. Julian Knap, not so much, but I was told he's good. B is on Elves, one of the most like complicated decks to perform against the Goldfish. So we can expect this guy to have pretty solid play. We'll be seeing it right now. Volcanic Island for Michael Steinecke. Already, we can see it in his hand. Delver of Secrets seems to be on a pretty aggressive blue-red. Maybe blue-red-green. We will see what the third color... Rock Delver. Okay, there we can see it. Blue, red-green, also known as Canadian Threshold. Blast from the Past. Machen wir derzeit. Years ago we saw this for the first time. If it could be still called that. I don't know if it's going to have Nimble Mongoose or no. Anyway, deciding to go with an aggressive strategy here. Good choice. I like it for long tournaments like this. You kind of just want to not spend all of your time at the table playing miracles. Like, no matter how good the deck might be, and I get it that, like, if you got to do what you got to do to win, but just, like, don't underestimate the fact that there will be fatigue setting in the later rounds of the tournament. You just can't play round after round after round to the time limit and like never get any fresh air. You just need that like half an hour where you can just stand out in front of the site, breathe in that fresh air, maybe get some of that food that people often don't get a chance to eat because they're too busy playing. So try to not lose out on that. Michael Steinecke not managing to flip the Delver in turn 1. Julian Knapp surely breathing a huge sigh of relief that this isn't going on. Curving into young Pyromancer though. Julian Knapp though on turn 2 already ready to explode. Glimpse of nature, this could be it. Michael Steinecke don't think has any counter. Quirion Ranger so good making that additional mana. We saw Force of Will in Michael Steinecke's hand. Don't know though whether he has another blue card. This might actually just be it. GS Cradle. Julian Knapp seemingly going off without an issue here. I don't think that Michael Steinecke is going to live another turn. How is he going to fizzle in this? Maybe he will get unlucky, has to pass the turn after all. Oh man. Ah yeah, he just couldn't have killed him. He didn't have enough creatures that could have actually attacked. Although actually, no, I think he could have done it. I think he could have deployed like 20 creatures and then play Behemoth and attack with the... Oh yeah, he could have killed. He just kind of didn't manage to find the cards this time. Lucky for Michael Steinecke, gets to live one more turn. Let's see what he can do here. Wasteland on GS Cradle, of course, probably going to happen. Julian Knapp maybe having another one in his hand. After all, he played it into the Wasteland. On the other hand, he just couldn't know if he wasn't just going to win this turn. Maybe Wasteland on GS Cradle could be a huge deal right now. Michael Steinecke, of course, choosing to go for it is his best hope. GS Cradle, of course, 4 off in the deck. Still, though, maybe you just don't have that second one just yet, and will be have to be content with just sitting on that 1 forest for now. Michael Steinecke, considering what to do, how to best deal with the situation, probably wants to go for a Lightning Bolt here. Maybe on Quirion Ranger to just deny, or maybe actually on Deathrite Shaman. Quirion Ranger, yeah, it's a tough call. If the Quirion Ranger will enable you to get 1 more mana out of your forest in case you don't have a second land. On the other hand, the Deathrite Shaman will enable you to make 1 more mana no matter what, just by removing the fetch land. And the Graveyard is pretty stacked, so I don't think that is a tough choice. But still, if you just eliminate it, then you will maybe see that Quirion Ranger is able to generate the extra mana anyway, but probably, like, Julian will have the second land. His deck, though, only running 19 land, but still, that's plenty. You could have, like, a third one, particularly seeing how he already drew some cards. Now we shall see what Julian Knapp can do. Does he have more land? Delver is still not being flipped, still can't attack. I'm sure he would have loved to try to attack it into the Quirion Ranger, but Elvish Visionary would have just eaten it right away. Ooh, Green Sun's Zenith for 1. No doubt getting... what's its called name? Heritage Druid. To get ready to go off, make those 3 green mana. There it is. I don't know what he's gonna play now. Putting that counter on the Quirion Ranger to symbolize that he activated it this turn. But I'm still not loving it. Please, players, don't do this. Do whatever. Do like any... Of course, like, please denote that you already used it. Turn it like upside down or something. Outsleeve it, or like write a little note, write on it used. But don't just put a counter like it's +1/+1. It could be anything. Like, in the end, you will never know how did this happen. So it could be confusing to anyone. So just kind of be sure that you use whatever aid you need to represent what's going on in the game state that would otherwise be complicated to track, but just don't use methods that are already commonly being used to track something else. It will just cause needless confusion. And yeah, so much for that. Right now, Michael Steinecke still kind of just wondering, is he gonna see 1 more turn? And this can be nerve-wracking for anyone. I personally hate these kind of situations. I mean, of course, I love playing combo myself, and it's a like necessary evil of the metagame, but still, it's just no fun to play against it. Just be watching all this time and just hoping that the opponent doesn't get to draw it anymore. Apparently, Julian Knapp not able to afford the pimp anymore. Still, anyway, I know everybody loves their faults. I personally say, yo, go ahead. Alter, get your cards like full art altered or something. Get like, you know, beta, near mint or whatever, Korean version. But like the foils always make for like awkward situations unless your whole deck is foil. Having those foils and non-foils in your deck is just a problem for shuffling. The foils might warp, you know, or they might just be thicker or feel harder than other cards, whatever. It's just always not a good idea. Not to mention on the coverage, the foils are gonna glare like crazy. Right now, we looking pretty good on the glare. Can almost recognize everything except for that graveyard from Michael Steinecke. Not that important right now. Seeing how Deathrite Shaman is not part of the game anymore. Michael Steinecke now beating it down. Willing to still trade the Delver of Secrets for the Nettle Sentinel. And what is happening though is Michael Steinecke is still not finding another spell. This is pretty on the top of his deck. This is pretty sad. More young Pyromants are not going to do it either. Michael Steinecke is still sitting on that Force of Will, I believe, but still doesn't have that blue card. There is the second glimpse of nature. Now, oh, this could be bad. Julian Knapp seems to be sitting on a few cards still. Although, no, there is the Force. He did find the Stifle and managed to just hold it back so he can force this, thank God, getting 2 more tokens, shutting down the Julian Knapp pretty good. Now we need to see if he can manage to close it out. He doesn't have any resources left. He has a pretty significant board, but still nobody is flying, and Julian Knapp will be able to just keep returning that Elfish Visionary, blocking it after blocks, bouncing it with a Wirewood Symbiote, replaying it to start digging through that deck to find some more Glimpse of Nature maybe, although he is looking for that third one by now. That can be pretty tough to find. Maybe he will be running out of time. For now, seems to be doing pretty good, playing out a few creatures. Unfortunately, Glimpse didn't resolve, he just dumps his whole hand. Natural Order is now interesting. For the Behemoth, is it lethal yet? Or is he going to go for something like Regal Force? Does he have Regal Force? I think he does not have a Regal Force. So yeah, he's just going to Behemoth it. And is it going to be enough? It could be. It could be. Huh? Yeah, Michael Steinecke, seeing the writing on the wall, that really is 1,000,000 damage, scoops it up, has so many attackers already. Julian Knapp, even though having his Force Glimpse of Nature denied, in the same turn manages to come out with Natural Order, getting Behemoth, just totally running over Michael Steinecke. Wow, nothing he could have done to stop this. Michael Steinecke, unfortunately, not managing to find more disruption for this Elf deck. Julian Knapp, though, also the not hand, seemingly double Glimpse. Michael Steinecke maybe narrowly dodging defeat even already in round 2. After that Glimpse of Nature, it could have already been it. But then Julian Knapp still manages to easily destroy him with Natural Order for that Craterhoof Behemoth. Yoshi showing up is totally smashing the opponent. Saddle jump and whatnot. Sadly, I don't have the tool to make this Yoshi sound. That would be sweet now. I always wish I had that on my cell phone. Just whenever I talk to Yoshi or Bausch. Anyway, sideboarding now, Julian Knapp most likely is going to anticipate more disruption now on his creatures, but what is he going to do? His sideboard thoughts, his Cable Therapy, no good. Abrupt Decay, I don't know if he's expecting any hate permanence on Michael Steinecke, probably not, right? Huh? Michael Steinecke, although on the other hand, Michael Steinecke possibly bringing in Grafdigger's Cage. Abrupt Decay, good solution to that. Otherwise, really shutting down Julian's ability to go for Green Sun Zenith and Natural Order. Still able to win anyway, though, just by glimpsing through his whole deck, generating a ton of mana with that Heritage Druid Nettle Sentinel interaction, and just hardcasting the Craterhoof Behemoth after drawing to a ton of cards. But still, he might want to bring in some Abrupt Decay. He might bring in some Choke. Choke seemingly pretty good against Michael. Michael probably be looking to play around that against any green deck, trying to get some, like, Taiga. Oh, this just in, apparently he has all islands. I don't know. I personally would run maybe one Taiga, just to not be so defeated in that situation. But I'm guessing you can just kind of figure that Choke is not going to make a big difference. I don't even know if I would bring in the Choke, really. Because if Michael Steinecke deploys some cheap creatures, and just already is on the table, is attacking you, maybe has Force of Will in his hand, he just doesn't need any more land, actually. And then, plus in a way you make it like live, every land he draws all of a sudden is more useful than if it wasn't. Yeah, Dev has all islands, but I still don't know if it's worth it. Like, the hand could be mostly empty by the time you even get that Choke out. And you would need to remove something for that. Dilute your ability to just combo off what seems to just work like a charm against Michael Steinecke in round 1. Michael Steinecke really just seemingly playing such a fair deck. Playing like a 2-1 Delver, unfortunately, 1-1 all the time. Maybe he would have made a little, but still, even if he was 3-2 right away, he wouldn't have been able to kill Julian Knap before he just summoned that Yoshi and ran him over. I can has Behemoth indeed. Julian Knap showing us how it's done with his Elf combo deck. So, I don't know, man. Michael just, I think he has to be really going for that quick draw, bolting the key Elf, maybe get that out that Grafdigger's Cage, try to delay it a little, but I don't think if that is going to be enough. Like I said, Grafdigger's Cage, Julian Knaps can just bring in Abrupt Decay. He probably did. Probably taking out something like, okay, tough to say, probably taking out something like, I don't know, yeah, I have no idea, maybe Reclamation Sage, whatever. Yeah, that would be my pick, since you're the only thing that you would search it out for would be the cage anyway, so you might as well use Abrupt Decay so you can also kill something like a Delve or whatever. But I don't even know, like I said, there seemed to be no problem at all winning this game 1. So, yeah, I can see him actually maybe just not even sideboarding anything. Or sideboarding like, I don't know, just not sideboarding anything and just going straight into it again. Clicking rematch to just see if Michael Steinecke can do better this time. All the pressure is on him. He won the die roll, but he won the die roll in round 1, right? And I don't think it did him any good. He just got to get Julian down to like, I don't know, not even 10, right? 17? Oh, sick. Yeah, right. He couldn't even attack. 2-1 being so awkward against all the dorks that Julian Knap can run out. You feel so sad when you have to play that Lightning Bolt on the Elfish Visionary just so you can go through with your Young Pyromancer, get that token. I mean, yeah, man, you got to do it. But it just doesn't feel great. You'd rather use it for something else. And that is the kind of problem that we see the Delver deck having here. If he can't just go Delver turn 1 and just flip it right away and then maybe like burn some elves and play maybe, I don't know, a Young Pyromancer real quick, then I don't know what's going to be going on with this. I got Michael Steinecke's sideboard right here. 1 Grafdigger's Cage. Okay, probably will be bringing that in just to try to lock it out. Pithing Needle, not going to do anything actually against the elves, I believe, right? Pithing Needle? Yeah, you can name land, but you can't shut down mana ability, right? Right, you could shut down Quirion Ranger Wild Symbiote, that would be a thing. I don't know if that would be worth it. On the other hand, yet again, 1 Pithing Needle, not so sad. 1 Dark Blast. Dark Blast? Oh, he does? Yeah. Oh, alright. Oh, he is like 4-color version? Only now I see this. Oh no, he doesn't have green. It's like Grixis Delver. Now I get what's up. Yeah, but also, no, look, there's also like Gurmak Angler.
Yeah, it's Grixis Delver.
Grixis Delver, okay, there it is. Now I see what's going on. Didn't make a difference in round 1. Only running blue and red cards from what I could see. Didn't even notice. But yeah, man, Dark Blast in his sideboard. 2 Submerge could be coming in. 4 Cabal Therapy, maybe, yeah, man. If he really is trying to heavily disrupt Julian Knap, and I think he has to because Racing is just not going to do it. The main deck only containing Lightning Bolt as a removal, that is pretty sad. You would think you would see more burn, but no, this Delver deck just run all aggressive creatures trying to counter their way to victory. Not even any Chain Lightnings or nothing. Lightning Bolt, the only removal that he even had. Julian Knap showing off his skills. Round 1, Green Sun Zenith vs. 0 on the Dryad Arbor. Such a strong play. Maybe the main reason why Green Sun Zenith got banned in Modern. It was just too dominant, of course. It was just like too good value, but the fact that you could just, even worst case, when you had nothing to do, you could just abuse it as a mana elf to get that Dryad Arbor in turn 1. It was just so ridiculous. Which is why Green Sun Zenith was one of the most versatile and just straight up powerful green cards that we have seen in a long time. No wonder it's still featured as a 4-off in Legacy. This card definitely will always make for a good deck. Wasteland on Pendelhaven, not ideal. I guess he just kind of... Oh, Dark Blast though. This is great. Michael Steinecke managing to find that 1 Dark Blast. Julian Knab in huge trouble. Really, I don't know how he's going to get something going now. No permanence. This should look pretty good for Michael Steinecke actually. Dark Blast will now be able to come back just every turn. So good with Ponder. He can just kind of choose to leave 1 card on the top, draw it next turn, and then dredge later. He doesn't even want to do it probably because his lands, the top cards aren't looking so hot. He might probably be just reshuffling it straight up. Actually, no. Chooses to go for that Brainstorm. No doubt we're going to see him dredge away something last turn. Yeah, I don't know, man. That Green Sun Zenith ban, lower deck diversity, I don't know about that, because maybe it was even in every green deck, but even then, you would still have to play green, and you have to play green creatures and be like heavy green and stuff. I don't see why it wasn't worth it to kind of enable that. You don't see that many heavy green decks anymore in Modern, and like maybe Green Sun Zenith would have been pretty cool. But I don't know, like I'm saying, I guess maybe they should have just banned Riot Arbor instead. And that would have made for a better choice. But I don't know. The Wizards, they're like on the better safe than sorry side. Whenever they see too much of a certain card, they're like, okay, players are probably fed up with this. Maybe it's not an actual problem, but maybe it will just be perceived as a problem by the general public, so might as well throw it out. People are not going to be so sad that they don't get to play Green Sun Zenith anymore, that they quit playing Modern altogether. So probably a good choice. Julian Knab, you see the saddest thing ever. GS Cradle, no creatures. Of course, he just... I don't know if he just even had to put it into play, because, like, yeah, probably just can't afford to be playing around that wasteland anymore. Is so behind. So sad if they get hit by the wasteland. If, oh, there is the second Cradle. Okay, then that makes much more sense. But like I said, probably wasn't even able to afford playing around that second wasteland in the first place. Needed to hope to just rip that forest, to have 2 lands on the table right away. If he gets a land now, I mean, the problem is that every dude of him is going to die to the Dark Blast, but he can still get out like the Wirewood Symbiote and Quirion Ranger, and then potentially like use Wirewood Symbiote to save Quirion Ranger from the Dark Blast, and then if he gets another land, even try to combo off in the next turn. We could be seeing this. Michael Steinecke definitely would not be happy. Really feels like the king of luck right now, having that singular Dark Blast in his opening hand, just being ready to wreak havoc on the creatures of Julian Knab. At the same time, having that young Pyromancer generating a bunch of tokens right now, I'm sure of it. Using face-down cards for the token with sleeves that seem to be the same sleeves as the deck. Another thing that players please shouldn't do. Maybe there isn't a card in there, then it's fine. Then I wouldn't have said anything, but maybe it's just some random like face-down card from the sideboard, and I always tell everybody that Morphs is a thing. So don't do this. Use anything you want as a token, except for face-down cards with the same sleeves as your deck. That is always going to be terrible, and we unfortunately see Michael Steinecke doing this here. I do believe there is a piece of cardboard in that sleeve. And we see, like, bad practice. Not necessarily, like, illegal or anything, but like I said, just bad practice. Don't do it. Avoid this to avoid any miscommunication. See, that green sleeve would be fine, but, like, the black ones, I don't know. And I'm pretty sure that's cards from his sideboard, and that is... I don't know, man. I know he doesn't have any more, so there wouldn't be any confusion ever, but, like, Illusionary Mask and whatnot being a thing, just try to stay away from face-down cards as much as possible. Unless they clearly just cannot be in your deck because of the sleeves, then it's okay. Okay, so Michael Steinecke, again, can totally abuse Ponder with Dark Blast, can just dredge away whatever he doesn't want. Getting out that second Pyromancer, a huge beatdown. Julian Knab surely being dead in a few turns. Doesn't find a land again, it seems. Unable to get anything going with his hand. He will definitely need, like, runner lands now to be in this match again. He even has to discard. This is so unfortunate. Hey, man. Ich sagte so ein bisschen 3 Tage backen, das ist schon lassen. Yeah, you're right, overvoltage, but what if there wasn't any mana spent on them so far? Then you still wouldn't know. Yeah, oh no, Ice Cauldron, don't ask me about that. I just don't have the time to tell you about the text. It would take too long. It's not like, of course, I know every word of it, man, but it's like reciting the Bible. It's just not gonna happen during the time of this stream. Ice Cauldron, man. Yeah, guys, I'm telling you. Fashion advice on the side for our staff here. Dude, clean shaven today, looking good, but still I think that the kind of 3 days double would suit him better. We'll see if he'll go for it in future rounds. Depending on how much of a beard he can grow in a couple hours, I suppose. Probably not too much. At the next event then. For the rugged look. Anyway, Michael Steinecke managing to take this game to great performance of Dark Blast. So ridiculous. I've most definitely been on the doling outside of Dark Blast, just having it in my hand, playing Dredge back in the day, playing against elves, being like turn 1 Dark Blast, go So strong. Friend of mine, even in Modern, killing someone back in the day in turn 1 with Dredge, just Gemstone, Cavern, Dark Blasting on the opponent's turn, and then in their own turn just winning straight on turn 1. So amazing to witness the craziness that could still be possible even after like all those spannings and stuff. But yeah, man, so far in Legacy, man, way more broken stuff going on. Great combo possibilities. I used to always hate this about the format, playing a fair deck. If you were trying to have combo hate in your sideboard, you would need to be so diverse. You could be playing against anything, man. Players would be running like Alluren combo, then there would be like painters, like Imperial Painter, that would be trying to kill with that ANT. Then now there is Elves combo. You don't know. It was just crazy. There was like food chain action going on when I played someone. Crazy stuff that can happen to you in Legacy. And that's why I don't even know, we see not too many like really dedicated hate cards in sideboards, because they just won't be working against many of the combo decks that you will be facing. You will be kind of sitting there, jamming your sideboard full of hate, still have nothing to bring in against all of a sudden, I don't know, like Illusions Donate or whatever crazy stuff we might be seeing. You never know, man. In Legacy, anything goes pretty much. I mean, I heard that, or maybe everybody heard by now, that like kind of the 3 dominant decks are probably like Elves, Miracles, and ANT. Which is odd, because why isn't there any beatdown? But whatever, I guess it's just too slow for the likes of these combo decks. Michael Steinecke witnessing this now. Like I'm saying, 1 Dark Blast in his sideboard to shore up this matchup. So happy to see it in his opening hand. Now Michael Steinecke, though, on the draw against Julian Knap, really needs Julian Knap's deck to not perform on peak levels for a change. Julian having... If Michael didn't just have all this disruption in game 2, the wasteland keeping him away from any land and even the Dark Blast, then maybe Julian could have mounted this comeback even. There definitely was a spot where if he found like some forests from the top, he would have been in it still. Michael Steinecke managing to close it out this time. Julian Knap, though, keeping his hand, I believe, leading with the Heritage Druid. Michael Steinecke getting for Underground Sea. Does he have Dark Blast again? That would be such a huge relief for him. Julian Knap would be so unfortunate thinking he getting hated out like this. Doesn't even know that there is only 1 Dark Blast available. But doesn't have it now. Instead opts to go for... What is that? Oh yeah. Is it... Huh? Oh, Cable Therapy? Premium deck Gravepoint Cable Therapy. Okay. Glimpse of Nature being hit. Otherwise, look at that. Julian Knap poised to kill him on turn 2 again. He might have done it. Although, no, Wild Symbiote not all that interesting to interact with the Heritage Druid. Now beatdowns for 1. Michael Steinecke gotta be loving this. Really slow going from Julian Knap. On the other hand, man, Michael Steinecke needs to get something going as quick as possible. That Cable Therapy is all good and well, but you actually do not want to have to lead with that. He had to. He might have been dead in turn 2. Unfortunately, also does not seem to have had a 1-drop. So now has to give him the time. I'm telling you guys, discard timing is really crucial. You want to know, next, am I gonna be in big trouble next turn if I don't discard this now? And if this is already the case in your turn 1, it's just not good, because you most definitely want to be deploying the pressure and then use discard in that small window where your opponent is about to have the answer. Take it away just then and make sure to give them little time to top deck it. But Michael Steinecke, unfortunately, having to discard the Glimpse of Nature in round 1, unable to drop any pressure yet. Giving Julian Knap just time to draw into more of his stuff, and Julian Knap can get quite the wicked game going even without... No, ooh, hey. Yeah, guys. That is the commentator. Actually with U umlaut and no E accent, but whatever. All good. So, like I'm saying, Julian Knap really able to get out many creatures. Start attacking Michael even, as we have seen. Now probably is going to hold back. Deathrite Shaman 1-2, totally dominating this board. But still, Julian Knap sitting on all this mana. As soon as he draws anything big, it's going to be big trouble for Michael Steinecke. Michael Steinecke not having the Dark Blast this time, apparently. Julian Knapp surely rejoicing about that. Trying to figure out where to go from here. I can imagine Dryad Arbor coming out of that fetch land just to get more bodies on the table. Doesn't really need a forest instead anyway. Until that Dark Blast shows up, that is. Then again, only has like 2 forests in his deck, so whatever. Is attacking because he can just use the symbiote to bounce back whichever one gets blocked by the Deathrite Shaman. Look at the aggressiveness. Julian Knapp not even trying to prolong the game to find another glimpse, but instead trying to kind of start putting Michael Steinecke in the defense. Surely going by the maxim, the best defense is a good offense. Trying to pressure Michael to make him hold back, so that in turn he will have more time to draw into the explosive combo potential that his deck is known for. Again, 1 Glimpse of Nature down, but still 3 to go. Abrupt Decay on the Deathrite Shaman, not loving that. Why didn't... I don't know, man. I don't agree with that. He kind of gave away 1 damage here. I don't know why he did it. It couldn't have been a bluff attack. Like, why would Michael Steinecke not block, right? So, if you just think that he's going to block, and if you're then going to decay it, why don't you decay it right away? Yeah, surprise crop rotation for Pendelhaven would have been really sweet. This guy, unfortunately, not running any crop rotation. Loving the card personally, just for the like GS Cradle action and stuff. But yeah, maybe he was bluffing this. Maybe he was hoping Michael Steinecke didn't know he didn't have crop rotation and wanted to make him afraid, wanted to not have to waste that Abrupt Decay on the Deathrite Shaman, but probably was cool with it anyway, and so just decided to go for it, make Michael Steinecke make that read, and then just use the Decay, go for 1 less damage. It's not that important really. He will be able to close out Michael Steinecke at that rate sooner or later anyway. Now though, Lightning Bolt flipping the Delver of Secrets, huge draw. Michael Steinecke will be able now to deal with that Wirewood symbiote, totally shutting down any offense from Julian Knapp. Alternatively, attacking... By the way, yeah, that we are seeing it, Dryad Arbor coming into play. Delver of Secrets attacking for 3, not trying to use his 2 toughness to hold back those elves. Ponder could have definitely be played before combat just to maybe change his mind about that attack. I'm not loving this play. But okay. By the way, guys, if you want to get your artist signed Delver of Secrets, man, Niels Hum is going to be on the location today. Is he here already? He is already here. So come by, bring those Delvers, get them signed now. Usually, it's always hard. You have to usually travel around Europe to find those artists. Niels Hum with us right here, right now, today only. So if you want to get some of your top staple plate cards by Niels Hum signed, be on the lookout for cards like Baleful Strix, Balblight, Bitter Blossom, Delver of Secrets, Xbox, Garrock Wildspeaker, Grave Titan, Phantasmal Image, and Swag Tusk himself. What was the problem? Oh, the Dryad Arbor is not allowed to be on the lands anymore? Yeah, definitely, I think so. It should be people really making sure that their mana base is plainly visible. Also, apparently this does not seem to be in the official rules yet, but personally I think it's just a matter of etiquette. If you play anything that does anything beside play mana, you just announce the name of the card, be like, yo guys, Dryad Arbor here. Not just fetching the kind of full art forest version, sneakily putting it under your other forest, and then all of a sudden having it jump out to block. Technically still a legal thing to do, but like I'm saying, a dick move, excuse my French. Please clearly let your opponent see what kind of special effect action you could have going on with your lands. Particularly in a format like Legacy, where it's really important to just even be able to clearly notice what kind of mana your opponent can still produce with his untapped lands. Right now, Julian Knapp, of course, sitting on Bayou and Wooded Foothills, potentially can play everything between 2 green and 2 black mana. Not so important now, Julian Knapp relentlessly going face with his Delver of Secrets, trying to close this out. Doesn't have such a nice hand. Cable Therapy at this point, being really terrible. Julian's already playing from the top. I don't think Cable Therapy will get anything. We will probably see it anyway now, just to make those tokens with the young Pyromancer. But I don't know, man. He will probably be able to use the flashback. I think he should just go for it right now. Play Cable Therapy, check out the hand, unless he knows it's a land. I don't know if he knows what it is. Well, more Dryad Arbor. Oh yeah, this guy here really running 2. Pretty nice. I don't know if that is standard or not. 2 Dryad Arbors can definitely slow you down a lot. It's a pretty terrible land to have to play on turn 1. Of course, great when you have nothing better to do and can just pull it out with a fetch land. Michael Steinecke not choosing to deny Julian that card, maybe instead opting to brainstorm the Cable Therapy away, hopefully finding something like a fetch land. Even though, man, Cable Therapy at this point, it would have made like 3 tokens. You could have flashed it back again to for sure get that last card. Brainstorm, you could have still played it next turn. You don't even want to be drawing a fetch land, because why would you want to use that 4th land? So just kind of, I don't see really why you wouldn't want to go for that Cable Therapy right now. But okay, Michael Steinecke choosing not to do it. Now it doesn't have any tokens to block those dorks with. Surely isn't going to risk his Wild Pyromancer to trade. Although, oh, no, there it is. He was going to brainstorm now. Yeah, man. Okay, like, getting Julian to attack into those tokens might have been his plan all along. It's looking pretty sweet now, working out well for him. Of course, again, sorry about that. I got carried away as the commentator since I knew he had it. I didn't kind of think, I forgot about the fact that Julian just wouldn't know and wouldn't attack into it with his dorks. Anyway, now those tokens coming into play. Why would he worry about top deck natural order? He could have just top deck natural ordered anyway. No, nothing Therapy would have done about that. Like I said, I think, me personally, that Cable Therapy is depreciating really fast. It's gonna do, it did next to nothing already last turn. So like, unless, and like I'm saying, trying to shuffle it away with a fetch land is not ideal anyway. That fetch land would be your 4th land, then you don't even really want that. So I would have tried to get the most I can out of the Cable Therapy, use it to gain those 3 tokens, for sure discard the last card from his opponent's hand. So what if he doesn't attack into it then? Julian Knap, being the good player as it is, surely has weighed the possibility, has figured that Brainstorm could be coming out of this Underground Sea, making those tokens surprisingly. So I don't think Julian Knap is as blown out by this as you would think he would be. He using the Symbiote, of course, to only save one dude. Trading the other guy. Submerge now. Was ist das denn? Kenn ich nicht. Den Skyphone auch kenne ich. Ja. Aber das andere kenne ich nicht. Achso, das ist sein Name, jetzt verstehe ich. Okay. Yeah, never mind, man. On the other feature match, we have Julian Brüggemann on Miracles, leading 1-0 over Steve Frango, playing Stiflenaut. Exciting stuff. Like I'm saying, yet another combo that you will have to prepare for specifically. Grafdigger's Cage not being so hot against that. Right now, Morph. Of course, Michael Steinecke, if he is aware, it's got to be Birchlaw Ranger. Like, what else could it be, right? Could it be something else? Which one? Tribal Force? No, I don't think. Ah, okay. So apparently a go-to kind of joke by Julian is to suggest that it might be the Tribal Force match for a change. But of course, no, it's always the Birchlaw Ranger. Ah, okay, Overvoltage, good point. Yes, that is true. It gives you the chance to just get these more cards so that you could maybe luckily kill the natural order. Surely more relevant to just not all of a sudden be dead. Legacy being so volatile. Me being used to like the more relaxed modern where there is not exactly this much need to worry about just dying all of a sudden. But here, definitely, man, natural order from the top, and it would have been all over for Michael Steinecke. So he's choosing not to grind the value out of the Cable Therapy, accepting the fact that it's not going to be that hot anymore. Instead, he leaving open the Brainstorm to find the Force of Will if he needs to, or at least to give himself a chance to find it. Tight play. I gotta say, I like it. Better than what I would have played in this situation anyway. Now Michael Steinecke's token production really getting out of control. Double Young Pyromancer, not an answer in sight for Julian Knap, who surely is not loving the fact that Michael can just go through his cantrips now, making so many tokens. Julian Knap not sitting on anything. Of course, Michael Steinecke not having the counter right now means that if he just top decks that natural order, it could be all over right now. Also, he really has quite the impressive amount of mana. Almost able to just hardcast like Behemoth if he draws it like this, if he can find like a Cradle or something. So, on the other hand, already down to 10 life. Michael Steinecke now with a huge force. Delver surely coming in again. Maybe even already pushing with everyone, because how many more tokens would you need to make for next turn, right? Just pushing it in now. Needling Quirion Ranger too, I can imagine. We can't see what is called right now. I always suggest everyone to write a little slip of paper, slip it into the sleeve. Just don't forget to slip it out of the sleeve again after the match. Otherwise, that card will be very recognizable during shuffling, which might lead to some more errors. Or like penalty, whatever. There we go, pushing him with everything. Just to get in that extra damage. I like it. Make him use the Quirion Ranger to trade for the young Pyromancer. Python Needle maybe not even naming Quirion Ranger, because otherwise why would he be so hesitant to trade it now? Why not just block a young Pyromancer with your Quirion Ranger? Lightning Bolt in the face, is it lethal? 2, 4, 7, 9. Yeah. Interestingly enough, he could have survived on 1 life if he had just blocked both Pyromancers. I wonder why he didn't want to go for this. He could have not top decked Natural Order then to win the game. But maybe, although I don't know, I guess he was just dead either way. Couldn't really afford to play around that Lightning Bolt. We will see if we can give you like maybe coverage of round 3 of that Julian Brüggemann versus Steve Fango match. Game 3, excuse me. Maybe they will already be in Game 3, which would be sad for our stream. Maybe there won't be any Game 3, which would be sad for Steve Fango. But not at all for Julian Brüggemann, who would also be advancing to just 1-0 then. Just like Michael Steinecke really not looking good in this Game 1, managing to turn it around after sideboarding though, clutching it out, using that Singleton Dark Blast to just totally destroy Julian in Game 2 and then in Game 3, just getting rid of that one glimpse of nature. And sometimes, as crazy as the elf deck can be, sometimes you just don't find that second way to go off if the first one gets handled. Being optimized for speed over than staying power, just like most combo decks in Legacy, where unlike Modern, you just need to kill your opponent as fast as possible. Julian Knab unfortunately falling prey to the Grixis Delver stylings of Michael Steinecke, of which we might be seeing more in later rounds. Michael Steinecke already being on the feature match in Modern last round. Always a good guy to feature, a good player. Cool decks usually. Grixis Delver not that much out of the ordinary this time. Maybe decided to shark it out this time, to go for the nice prizes, of which we have many this time. Let me see if I can get you an actual overview of the prices that we got going on for today. Meine Kollegen haben Sie am Start? Ja. Wo sind die denn? Gar nicht. Ah ja. Ganz vorne? Das mit Hand notiert der